Commodore Cornelius Vanderbilt, renowned in the realms of economics and business, is a name that resonates with enthusiasm. His enduring legacy has captivated audiences through various mediums, such as books, articles, and documentaries. While most of these explore his persona, companies, and actions, only a few delve into the intrinsic of a specific moments, strategies, and events. In this unique endeavor, the Lake Street Review invites you to explore the remarkable tale of Cornelius Vanderbilt, the first true master of economies of scale, unveiling his multifaceted character as the people's champion, a brilliant yet uncompromising entrepreneur. We embark on an illuminating journey into the captivating steamboat empire of this extraordinary individual. Cornelius Vanderbilt's interest in transportation commenced when he dropped out of school to help his father. At the tender age of 11 years old, Cornelius would assist his father with transportation of people and cargo. By the age of 16, Cornelius was running a two-mast ship on his own, which carried freight and passengers between Manhattan and Staten Island. However, his earnings were divided between himself and his parents. Utilizing aggressive marketing and undercutting his competition, Vanderbilt would amass a profit of $1,000 in his first year, equivalent to about $20,000 to $30,000 in today's value. Even at this early age, he exhibited his genius and implemented strategies that would serve to build his empire in the future. Cornelius assisted in the War of 1812 by supplying American military outposts. This experience would build additional skills for Cornelius as he learned about shipbuilding and navigation in open waters. Once the war had ended, Vanderbilt had amassed a small fortune of $10,000, equivalent to $200,000 or $280,000 of today's money. It is through these efforts that Vanderbilt obtained the nickname Commodore at the age of 18. By 1817, Vanderbilt noticed his earnings beginning to shrink and discerned that transportation had evolved, with steamboats becoming the new way of doing business. Vanderbilt exhibited a trait that would accompany him for the rest of his life. Instead of shying away from the challenge, he faced it head-on. Vanderbilt sold his boats and constructed his own steamboat. He additionally went to work for Thomas Gibbons to learn the ins and outs of the steamboat industry. It is here that his talent, determination, and grit would be put to the test, propelling him to greatness. Vanderbilt would utilize the same strategy of the times past, but truly master the economies of scale. Commodore Cornelius Vanderbilt's mastery of economies of scale set him apart as a visionary entrepreneur. By recognizing the changing landscape of transportation and embracing steamboats, he demonstrated his ability to adapt to new technologies and seize emerging opportunities. Vanderbilt decided to sell his existing boats and construct his own steamboats, showcasing his tenacity and willingness to take risks. Moreover, his willingness to learn from Thomas Gibbons, an experienced figure in the steamboat industry, demonstrating his commitment to acquiring knowledge and refining his skills. Through this relentless pursuit of excellence and the implementation of economies of scale, Vanderbilt would go on to revolutionize the steamboat industry and establish his enduring legacy as a business tycoon. If you ask children about the invention of the steamboat and its use for transportation, they will probably tell you this is all thanks to Robert Fulton. Robert Fulton is credited with building steamboats and utilizing them in New York waters. The use of the steamboats opened up a world of new possibilities in 1807 and inspired many entrepreneurs. However, what they won't tell you is that Fulton had a government monopoly over transportation on the Hudson River. The New York legislature granted Fulton a 30-year monopoly over the Hudson. In 1817, Thomas Gibbons had a clear goal to destroy this monopoly and hired Commodore Vanderbilt to help him complete this task. In 1817, for 60 days, Vanderbilt evaded the law and transported passengers on the Hudson. He did this while charging cheaper prices than Fulton and hoisting a flag on a steamboat that read, "New Jersey must be free." This rebellious behavior made Vanderbilt a local hero, a pirate of the people. Finally, in 1824, in the case of Gibson versus Ogden, the Supreme Court struck down the government monopoly held by Fulton. The leading judge, John Marshall, in his opinion stated, "Only the federal government can regulate interstate commerce." After the Marshall decision, seaboat commerce doubled, and soon you'd see cheaper fares on the Hudson and the Ohio rivers. Competition erupted after the Marshall decision, and this led to innovation within the industry, and soon you'd see cheaper fares on the Hudson and the Ohio rivers. Left to their own devices, entrepreneurs competed to have the most efficient and capable steamboats that could be produced. New updates in the steamboats included tubular boilers and anthracite coal as fuel to replace the expensive cornwood fuel used by Fulton. These changes cut fuel costs by half. These innovations cut prices for passengers, and it was noticed immediately. The cost of transporting passengers from New York to Albany dropped from $7 to $3. Unfortunately, Robert Fulton could not keep up with free market competition, and this failure to adapt led him to bankruptcy. After Thomas Gibbons' death in 1826, Vanderbilt would come to a new crossroads. Gibbons had left the company to his son, William, and although Vanderbilt had been a type of mentor to William, there wasn't real affection between the two. Vanderbilt attempted to buy the company from William, but his refusal left Vanderbilt with no choice. The Commodore broke off and started his own steamboat company. Utilizing the same tactics he used against Fulton, Vanderbilt would drive William Gibbons to the edge and finally take over Thomas Gibbons' company. In 1830, Vanderbilt decided to move to New York and compete against the Hudson River Steamboat Association. Utilizing just 2 boats, he outcompeted the 10-boat fleet of the association. Calling his steamboats the People's Line, he cut prices from New York to Albany from $3 to $1, and then down to 10 cents. Vanderbilt would eventually start offering trips for free. This was possible only because Vanderbilt figured that if he could transport 100 people, and if those people bought $2 worth of food and drinks, this would offset his expenses. This tactic placed enormous pressure on the Steamboat Association, which ended up just paying Vanderbilt to not compete. Yes, the Hudson River Steamboat Association offered Vanderbilt $105,000 a year to leave the Hudson for 10 years. The Commodore accepted the deal and decided to set his sights on new technologies that would allow steamboats to become steamships. Soon his endeavor would send him to compete in the oceans and offer his services to more people. However, the problems for the Hudson Association were not over. The example Vanderbilt set would create more competition, and the association would have to bribe more entrepreneurs in order to keep their cartel. Commodore Vanderbilt would then utilize what he had learned to compete against the subsidized lines of Edward K. Collins and beat him in the transportation of mail and passengers across the Atlantic. Cornelius Vanderbilt was a champion of the people. He would slash prices and offer bargains for everyday individuals, utilizing creative ideas to cut costs. Vanderbilt would attract more clients by making services cheaper. Additionally, new and better technologies would make boats and ships more efficient when consuming fuel, and lighter material would reduce repairs and maintenance costs. As we have seen, he even offered trips for free due to the consumption of food and beverage on his boats. Later on in his ventures across the Atlantic, he would offer low-income people cheap trips by creating cheaper accommodations, something his competitors would never do. This tactic is what is known as economies of scale. Economies of scale function by allowing companies to decrease prices for items by increasing production. The cheaper the items sold will attract more customers who will in turn buy more products. To decrease prices for items by increasing production. The cheaper the items sold will attract more customers who will in turn buy more products. New technologies or better accounting practices can increase savings and create cheaper products. Even in modern times, we still see these tactics being implemented in the modern economy. We just have to look at Sam Walton and Walmart. Sam Walton was known for his passion of giving Americans low prices. According to a known story, a manager got a deal on an item that was listed for a price of $1.98. He was able to buy it for 50 cents. The manager proposed selling it for $1.25. Sam objected, saying, "No, we paid 50 cents for it. Mark it up 30% and that's it. If we get a great deal, pass it on to the customer." Economies of scale still work. Walmart has even implemented a strategy where certain items are sold at cost value with zero markup. The customer will then purchase other items that are still cheap but do have a markup value. The lessons from Vanderbilt and the early entrepreneurs are still alive today. For this reason, we should not look at Vanderbilt or Sam Walton as terrible capitalists, but as heroes of the everyday individual.